I decided we'll come back to this next week because I don't want to confuse or overwhelm anyone because this is not going to be on your quiz. All right, let's finish off with measuring. So when you're using a ruler, okay, so we obviously have 0, 1 inches, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches. Usually a ruler goes to 12 inches. So you can measure things to the inch, or sometimes you have to measure things to the half inch. So between each whole number, there is a half, right? Like halfway between 1 and 2 is 1.5. Halfway between 2 and 3 is 2.5. Okay, so when you're measuring objects, sometimes you got to be a little bit more specific than just, oh, it's 1 inch. Oh, it might be 1.5 inches. So let's practice. For those of you who are in my classroom, you know Monkey. Okay, we use him for Mumble, we use him for prizes. Unfortunately, I left Monkey in school, so he's there. He's not alone, though, because we have our other monkey, Coconut, to take care of him. But we're going to measure Monkey today. So remember, when you're measuring an object, you have to put them at the very end of the ruler and start it at 0. All right, you don't want to start it over here. You want to start at 0. So I'm going to start Monkey at 0, and then you go to the very end where the object ends, and you kind of draw an imaginary line, right? So Monkey is about 1.5 inches long. Okay, now you can even measure more specific than a half inch, and that is you can measure to the fourth or 1/4 inches. Okay, so this ruler, just to zoom in a little bit, okay, so between 0 and 1 we have 1/4. Now 2/4 is the same thing as 1/2. It means the same thing because it's right in the middle, right? It's halfway between 0 and 1. So 2/4 is the same thing as 1/2, and then we have 3/4, and then we have 1. Okay, so Monkey's in quarantine. He's not really exercising as much as he should, so he gained a little bit of weight. Right, he got a little longer. So now we're going to measure Monkey a few weeks after he hasn't exercised much. Okay, so remember, we start him at the 0, and then where does he end? We draw an imaginary line, and it comes to right about here. So he's not 2 inches long. He's not 2.5 inches long. So between that, right, between a half and a full is a fourth. A monkey is 2 1/4 inches long. All right. Now he's gained even more weight and he's gotten even bigger. And we're going to measure Monkey a few weeks later. Okay. Start him at 0. And now we're going to draw an imaginary line. Okay. So he's not 2.5 inches long. He's not 3 inches long. He's right between. So that is going to be 2 3/4 inches long. Okay. Sometimes you might get problem-solving questions. So Brody's tail is 4.5 inches long. What 2 inches are between 4.5? All right, so we have 4.5 here. Ask yourself, what's to the left and what's to the right? So 4 and 5. So it's between 4 and 5 inches long. Okay, good luck on your quiz. Take your time. Try your best. Hope this helped.